Chapter 34 Third person POV . A week remained until the Founders' Festival, and the heart of the Jura Tempest Federation was ablaze with energy and purpose. What was once an unassuming forest village had transformed into a radiant capital, a masterpiece of diplomacy, evolution, and monstrous cooperation. Tempest, now a jewel nestled deep within the great forest, stood as a shining monument of Rimuru's dream. Cobblestone streets lined with floating lamps ran between elegant structures made from magic steel and blessed stone. Multi-level markets bustled with travelers and merchants from Dworgen, Blumend, and even distant Sarian. Elementals danced through the air, adding enchantments to banners that fluttered across the skies in the colors of Tempest's insignia, silver, azure, and gold. Children ran through the plaza, laughing under the watchful eyes of Gabble's lizardman patrols. Elven traders bartered with dwarven craftsmen while beastmen offered food from exotic regions. It was an impossible sight years ago, and yet, here it stood. A peaceful kingdom ruled by a monster once born as mere slime. In the shadow of Tempest's glowing skyline, another marvel awaited. The Colosseum, recently completed thanks to the unyielding labor of Geld and his construction corps. Carved from enchanted stone and reinforced with mythic alloys, it towered over the capital like a divine relic. Seats capable of hosting tens of thousands spiraled up in layers, and powerful barrier enchantments created by Seal and Rimuru guaranteed safety even during full-scale battles. Beneath it lay a vast abyss, a secret that only a few knew fully. The Labyrinth, a realm of chaos and treasure, completed in record time through Rimuru's most devilish strategy, blackmail. Veldora had been lazing around again, and Ramirez was, as usual, procrastinating. So Rimuru struck hard, all ban manga. The effect was instantaneous. Veldora, eyes wide in pure horror, swore eternal loyalty and begged for forgiveness. Ramirez cried like a banshee, begging him not to take away her precious Isekai Hero Sama Volume 24. They both worked like demons afterward. With Veldora's immense magicals and Ramirez's divine architectural abilities, the labyrinth was born into perfection, layer after layer of mystery, death, and glory. At its core, Rimuru had selected unique bosses, handpicked or forced into service. Labyrinth layout, floors 1 to 9, trickery ruled here, traps, pitfalls, confusing illusions, and swarms of low-tier monsters designed to break the spirit of cocky adventurers. Floor 10, the Black Spider, an ominous predator with poisonous threads and shadow movement. Floor 20, an evil centipede, whose segmented body slithered with paralyzing venom and armored hide. Floor 30, a crazed ogre and his 5 loyal subordinates, frenzied warriors with savage tactics and berserker resilience. Floor 40, the Tempest Serpent, born of magical storms, coiled through a maze of electric traps. The deeper one went, the crueler the labyrinth became. Floor 50, twin gardens, Gozerl and Mezerl, fused elemental steel with demonic enchantments. Floor 60, the Demon Colossus, a walking mountain that roared with unholy magic. Floor 70, Adalman, the undead priest, raised legions of fallen challengers. Floor 79 to 80, the insect queen Apito and Zejin, her armored king, ruled their hives with silent brutality. Floors 82 to 89, the 8 legions, named warriors of various races with terrifying specialties, such as Byakun the illusionist, Reiko the thunder assassin, and Encho, the mad arcanist. Floor 90, the 9-tailed fox, a creature of pure magic, illusion. Then the labyrinth transformed. Floors 91 to 94 were industrial. Magical factories, alchemical labs, and cultivation farms harvested everything from hippocute herbs to high-grade honey, while massive storage zones stockpiled mythic ores and magic steel. Floor 95, a hidden paradise, Labyrinth City. Treants and elves ran inns, blacksmiths sold custom enchantments, and even an elf cabaret entertained guests. Adventurers could rest, resupply, and even live here, if they could survive long enough to reach it. Then came the final trials. Floor 96 to 99, Dragon Lords, each named by Rimuru and captured by Milam herself. Boreas, Ice Dragon, Notos, Lightning Dragon, Zephyrus, Fire Dragon, Euros, Earth Dragon. Milam had tried for 5 dragons, but one Fire Dragon, Ignira, vanished before capture. And finally, Floor 100. The domain of the storm dragon Veldora, sealed in splendor. Floor 101, an evacuation zone, hidden beneath layers of barriers. Created with Veldora's own magicals, it could shelter all of Tempest's citizens in dire times. Floor 102, the command center, a tactical fortress used for monitoring the labyrinth, launching military operations, and Ramirez's secret research lab. It was a miracle of monstrous design. Rimuru's office, nightfall. Inside the crystalline tower at Tempest's heart, Rimuru sat upon a plush obsidian throne-like chair, head propped on one hand as documents drifted before him via Seal's magic. Behind him stood luminous Valentine, dressed not in her usual royal attire, but a flawless black maid outfit. Her eyes scanned the room with silent grace. On the dark velvet couch nearby sat Seal and Shizu. Seal, his ultimate skill turned sentient manas, now embodied in a human form. She sipped black rose tea with a soft smile, eyes observing every detail. Her elegant posture radiated pride. Beside her, Shizu leaned back, her hair gently curled around her shoulders. She wore a relaxed kimono, sipping her own tea with practiced tranquility. The room felt warm, familial even. Suddenly, "My lord, may I have a moment of your time?" Rimuru blinked. It was Diablo, using thought communication. "Sure, Diablo, what's up? As per your command, I have made contact with the other primordial demons." Rimuru sat straighter. "And, we are en route to Tempest now. They agreed to meet." A smile touched Rimuru's lips. "Good. Bring them straight to my office." "As you wish, my lord." The connection cut. Seal turned her head slightly. "So master, Diablo completed his mission." Her voice, silky and composed, carried the weight of a god-tier tactician. "Yup," Rimuru replied. "He's bringing new subordinates. Powerhouses." Shizu tilted her head. "Diablo, bringing more demons." Rimuru nodded. "Yaaa demons." Seal narrowed her eyes a bit. "Be careful, master. They're strong, and even more cunning." Rimuru chuckled. "I'll keep that in mind." Then, Luminous stepped forward, holding a tray of fresh tea. "If I may, who exactly are these beings you speak of?" Rimuru leaned back. "You'll see very soon." Seal added quietly, "They are the kind of creatures whose existence can change entire worlds. Be ready." Luminous blinked, her lips parting slightly in confusion. Shizu's brow furrowed. "They sound dangerous." "They are," Rimuru answered softly. "But they're mine now." He looked toward the horizon through his office window, at the glowing lights of the city preparing for celebration. Unbeknownst to all, shadows were creeping closer. The Eastern Empire, a land of sprawling metallic cities built on ambition and conquest, shone beneath the dying sun. Towering spires pierced the heavens, and colossal walls of gold-etched steel enclosed the military citadel of imperial capital Azazir. In the heart of this militaristic giant, inside the imperial palace known as Sanctum Solis, a storm was brewing beneath polished marble floors and holy banners. Within one of the upper sanctums, a crimson aura coiled like flames around a towering figure, Velgrind, the scorched dragon. Her molten blue hair cascaded down her back in wild waves, her eyes ignited like twin suns. She stood poised, wings folded tightly against her back, ready to depart. Velgrind's expression was unreadable, but her heart thundered beneath her chest. "Veldora, I never cared much for your chaos," she muttered to herself, standing at the launching deck of the Sky Fortress. Her golden eyes narrowed at the northern horizon, where Tempest awaited her. "But Rudra, no. My beloved, he asked this of me. He wants you brought under my wings. He wants unity, and if he commands it, I will bend even my will for him, even if it means dragging you back in chains." But even as she prepared, Velgrind remained unaware that Rudra, her anchor, her purpose, was no more. His body had long since become a shell, hijacked by Michael, the Justice King. Worse still, Velgrind herself, the proud true dragon, was being subtly manipulated by her own ultimate skill, Charity Lord Raggle. Designed to enforce obedience under the guise of love, the skill worked relentlessly to bind her mind to Michael's will. The fortress gates opened. With a surge of heat and fury, Velgrind took flight, her wings unfurling like crimson banners. The very air warped and trembled as she soared high into the atmosphere, cutting across the sky like a comet of flame, destined toward Tempest. Back in the Imperial Palace, within a chamber bathed in divine radiance, Michael, wearing Rudra's face, observed Velgrind's departure through a translucent orb of light. His gaze was emotionless, divine, yet cold. So obedient, as expected from a vessel of order, he said to no one in particular. Even a dragon bends under divine will, as long as she believes it's his command. Suddenly, a smooth, dispassionate voice sliced through the silence. "You rely too heavily on sentiment, Michael." Michael's eyes narrowed slightly. He didn't turn around as he responded, calm and calculating. "Feldway, how long have you been standing there?" From the shifting shadows stepped a being cloaked in flowing black robes. Feldway, the Phantom King, a former First Angel, exuded a presence that seemed to distort reality itself. His hair, long and impossibly white, spilled down to his waist. His eyes, bottomless voids, gleamed with celestial intellect. Black draconic horns curled from his head, a mark of his divine lineage. His appearance bore an eerie resemblance to Veldanava, the lost star king dragon, their creator, their god. Long enough to hear the lie you've whispered to Velgrind, Feldway said softly, stepping closer. You do understand, do you not? Tempest is not a simple nation anymore. It is a rising power. And it stands between us and our goal, the resurrection of Lord Veldanava. Michael nodded. Yes, which is why Velgrind must weaken their foundation. One dragon against another. Veldora is erratic, but he's strong. We must bind or remove him. Feldway's voice turned more firm. And if she fails? Michael paused. Then I will release the Seraphim. With my authority over justice and heaven, I will initiate angelic descent upon Tempest. They will be overwhelmed. Feldway tilted his head slightly, amused. You sound confident, but have you forgotten who resides in Tempest? Veldora. Even Milam, she is. Michael interrupted, his voice colder. Milam is Velda's daughter. Taking control of her would be a betrayal. Feldway's black eyes flashed. We don't follow bloodlines. We follow Velda. If Milam must be bent to our will to resurrect him, then so be it. Brother, sister, daughter, it matters not. Only our god's return matters. Michael exhaled softly. You're right. I'll send word to Velgrind. She may be able to distract or entrap Milam as well, if she gets close. Feldway turned, walking toward the shadows again. Just before vanishing, he stopped. Michael, why not use your true power now? Summon your Seraphim. Begin the cleansing. Michael remained quiet for a beat, then answered, not yet. I want Velgrind's mission to be complete first. She's our front line. Once she weakens Tempest's strength, I will summon the full host. Very well, Feldway said, then disappeared into the shadow like mist caught in wind. Michael sat alone again in the chamber of light, silent. He looked once more at the image of Velgrind tearing through the sky, heading toward Tempest. Then he closed his eyes, touching the crest on his chest. Lord Veldanava, we are closer than ever. Yet, despite the calm on his face, something inside him stirred. A ripple of unease. Ultimate skill, Justice King Michael, detected a distortion in fate, one it couldn't classify. Like a thin crack appearing on a polished mirror, something was wrong. This feeling again, he muttered, tightening his grip on the armrest of the throne. Something dangerous waits in Tempest. Even Feldway had felt it. A silent change, a distortion in destiny they hadn't foreseen. A power hidden from the angel's gaze. A new factor was in play. But who, or what? Still, Michael, ever composed, calmed his nerves. No matter, we are the will of heaven. Even fate must obey. He stood, the light of the Seraphim shining behind him, their weapons and wings ready to descend. Velgrind, complete your task. Then we will bring about judgment. Within the heart of the storm that was Tempest, silence ruled. The grand castle at the center of Rimuru's domain shimmered under the ever-present glow of twilight skies, an eerie blend of serenity and strength. The city outside bustled with life and power, yet within the upper tower chambers of the demon lord's stronghold, a profound calm had settled. Inside a vast, darkened room laced with obsidian and deep violet motifs, Rimuru sat alone on a luxurious Gothic-styled couch. The air was heavy with the faint scent of blood roses and burning incense, flickering candles casting golden shadows upon the walls. He held a delicate porcelain teacup in one hand, swirling the steaming liquid with languid grace, his golden eyes staring through the stained glass window beside him. Rimuru's appearance had changed subtly over time, now far more regal, more divine. His extremely long black hair shimmered like silk woven from night itself, cascading past his shoulders in flowing layers. Those piercing golden eyes glowed with a dragon's majesty, reflecting wisdom, curiosity, and danger. Two black, dragon-like horns curled upward from his head, elegant yet ominous. His androgynous features held an ethereal beauty, powerful yet soft, calm yet commanding. He bore a haunting resemblance to a figure only a few in the cosmos would dare whisper about, Veldanava, the Star King Dragon. Yet none knew of this likeness. Not even the most trusted of his retainers had dared compare. As Rimuru took another sip of his tea, a soft knock echoed at the door. Come in, he said, voice smooth as velvet but firm with underlying dominance. The door creaked open, and Diablo entered, bowing respectfully. His crimson eyes gleamed with anticipation, and a proud smile tugged at his lips. "My lord, I have brought them." Rimuru gently placed his teacup down and leaned back, one leg crossing over the other with practiced grace. "Let them in." Diablo turned toward the door. "You may enter." The room seemed to darken as three women stepped through the threshold. The air around them shimmered with chaotic energy, the power of primordial demons. The first was tall, elegant, and radiated cold authority, Blanc, the primordial white. Her crimson eyes held ancient wisdom, and her long white hair draped like a waterfall of moonlight over her regal figure. She said nothing, but her gaze flicked immediately to Rimuru, unblinking. Next came John, the primordial yellow. With blonde hair, sharp blue eyes, and the air of a rebellious schoolgirl, she strutted in with arms crossed and a smirk dancing on her lips. There was fire in her aura, a wild storm barely contained. Last was the smallest of the trio, Violet, the primordial purple. She looked like a lowly with lavender hair and purple eyes, but the way she moved was that of a seasoned predator. She smiled sweetly as she entered, but a dangerous glint sparkled in her gaze. Diablo stepped aside and introduced them with a touch of flair. "These are the ones, my lord. The eldest among their color, Blanc, John, and Violet." Rimuru's eyes glided over them with calm interest, then he spoke slowly, letting each word soak into the air. "Primordial demons are certainly impressive. But," Diablo finished with a smirk, "they are still weaker than me." Immediately, John's expression twisted in offense. "You little, I ought to knock you out of your smug boots." Violet giggled darkly, tilting her head. "Maybe I'll just poison him. Or chain him up and make him scream for interrupting our intro." "Sounds fun, right?" Blanc sighed heavily, brushing her hair back. "Children." Diablo's eyes narrowed, glowing with demonic pride. "Control your pitiful mouths in front of my lord, Rimuru-sama. If not, I shall." "Enough, Diablo." Rimuru's voice cut through the room like a blade wrapped in silk. Diablo instantly bowed, retreating one step. "My apologies, master." The sudden and unquestioned obedience left the three primordials momentarily stunned. Even John blinked. He shut up. "In one word," Violet whispered, her smile faltering. "That's rare," Blanc murmured, eyes sharpening as her interest deepened. Rimuru leaned forward. "I asked Diablo to bring you here for one reason. I want you three to become my subordinates." John scoffed. "Even if you've got style, I don't serve someone weaker than me." Violet nodded, crossing her arms. "I admit, you're pretty. But being cute doesn't mean I'll listen." Blanc remained silent, still analyzing him, as if peeling back invisible layers. Her gaze narrowed slightly. "You're not normal, are you?" Rimuru offered a half smile, resting his chin on his hand. "Maybe I am, maybe I'm not." Blanc tilted her head, eyes wide in revelation. "You're a true dragon, but that's impossible. I was sure no new true dragon had been born." John and Violet froze mid-breath. "Wah!" John gasped. "A true dragon." Violet's voice trembled with disbelief. From the corner, Diablo laughed, proud and smug. "Fukukuku, it's true. My master, Rimuru-sama, is no ordinary being." "But," Blanc hesitated, "you weren't born as one." "I would have sensed it." Rimuru's voice was calm, yet every syllable carried gravity. "I wasn't born as a true dragon, I evolved into one." Silence. "Evolved." John choked, staggering back. "That's impossible." Blanc's eyes narrowed further. "That defies every known law of this universe." Violet's voice was a whisper now. "You're serious. But even Velgrind, even Veldora, they were born as what they are." Diablo stepped forward proudly, speaking like a preacher in love with his god. "My master is a being who transcends logic. He is the defier of nature's rules, the one who walks beyond reality itself." The three primordials looked at each other in disbelief, awe creeping into their expressions. "Who are you really?" Violet muttered. "I'm beginning to think he's more dangerous than any of us." John bit her lip. "A miracle, or perhaps a warning," Blanc whispered, almost reverent. Then Rimuru's golden eyes gleamed as he asked in a serious tone, "So let me ask you one thing." Blanc's expression steeled, nodding. "Go ahead." The others glanced at her, then followed suit with cautious nods. == To be continued ==